So actually, one waitress told me there were 4 Armenian grandmas at a table, and she came up after the meal and said, "Was anything all right?" So it's a tough crowd to work with. You guys got that. Okay. So 2 old Armenian ladies, Haganush Badirian and Sidanush Gamadurian. Anybody know those people? Oh, good. Because they say that's my aunt. I'm in trouble. So they're in heaven. And Sidanush says, "Well, how did you get here?" And she says, "I froze to death." She says, "You froze to death? What a horrible way to die." She says, "It wasn't so bad." She says, "I got real cold, then I fell asleep, and now I'm in paradise. It's wonderful. It's sunny all the time, 75 degrees, lots of Latman Jews. It's a wonderful thing." So she says to her friends, "How did you get here?" And she says, "Well, I always thought my 86-year-old husband," this is a joke, by the way, 86-year-old husband was cheating on me. So I rushed home one day. There he was reading the newspaper. I ran upstairs to the bedroom, nothing in the bedroom. I ran into the basement, nothing in the basement. All that running around, I had a heart attack and died. And Sidanush says, "If you would have checked the freezer, we'd both be alive."
I love that one.
Where's Gary? Where's Gary?
Gary.
Daddy.
Back there.
Just
Give him time. That's all right. So there was a wealthy. Did you get it over there? Terry, did you get it back there? Okay. If she was in the freezer, if they were looked in the freezer, all right, you. So there was a wealthy Bostonian industrialist, Haig Gampaturian. Is there anybody like that? No? And the way they get Armenian names is they take something like a fork and you add a h to it and an R for Gurakja. And you can get away with it. So good old Haig. He was married, but he was very wealthy, and a young PhD candidate, beautiful girl from Armenia, came over, and he had an affair with this girl. So she came to him. This is a joke. He was like, "I know this girl, Sidanush." No, you don't know her. It's a joke. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So she comes back to him and she says, "Hi, I'm pregnant with your child." And Haig says, "I won't leave my wife. She's a wonderful lady. You should see her choregs. But I will take care of the child. When you go back to Armenia, I will help raise the child. I'll send money over there. He'll have the finest education and college, and I'll take care of them. I'm a very wealthy man." So he says, "When you go back to Armenia and the baby is born, send me a postcard that says Latmadjun, and then I'll know that the baby was born." So 9 months goes by, and the wife, Haig is sitting in the living room reading a newspaper, and the wife comes in. She says, "We got the strangest postcard from Armenia." And he goes, "Well, read it. What does it say?" And the wife goes, "Latmadjun, Latmadjun, Latmadjun. 2 with kefter, send extra mazel."
I haven't heard that one. That was a new one.
Gary, extra mazel.
I know love it.
So this Boston guy goes to the dead high. Krikagurian. Hovnan Krikagurian. He goes to the dead high and he says, "Dead high," that's the Armenian priest, for those that don't know. And he says, "My dog died. I love my dog. For 10 years I had this beautiful dog, and now it died." He had tears in his eyes. He said, "Would you do a service for my dog?" And the dead high says, what was his first name? He said, we don't do services for dogs. He says, "This is Armenian church. We don't do that." He says, "But the Baptist church down the block, who knows what they're going to do? So why don't you take the dead dog down there? Maybe they'll do a service for him." So he says, "Dead high, is $5,000 enough to pay for a service like that? And the Deadeye says, Babam, you didn't tell me it was an Armenian dog.
They just got it down there.
He wasn't
That's
going
why
to do
they're
it, but then
back
he
in the
found
class.
out.
2 more minutes to go.
So 14-year-old Jimmy Agabucha, he goes to the local Deadeye and he says, you know, I have to confess, he says, I kissed 2 girls this past weekend. It's a small little village town, like Watertown maybe. So, or Waltham, I don't know. So the Deadeye says, was it Sinanush Badukian, the shoemaker's daughter? He goes, well, Deadeye, I don't want to say. He says, was it Haganush Asadurian? And he goes, with that, I really don't want to say. So, okay, he says, if you don't want to say, then you can't come to church for 1 month. So he comes back outside. His friends are there. He goes, how did it go with the Deadeye? How did it go? He says, well, I can't come to church for 1 month, but I got 2 good leads.
I got to do
Are we ready for dinner yet?
One more.
Not yet.
Next more.
One more, okay. And then I want to talk a little bit about the kids. So, Oskowi Gambarian comes to a park bench and she sees her nephew, well not his nephew, some strange guy. And she says, why are you crying? He's crying on the bench. He says, well, I have a sad story to tell you. She goes, what's your sad story? She goes, 6 weeks ago my grandfather died and he left me $2 million. Well, she says, that's wonderful. She says, why are you crying? He says, wait, he says. Then I had a great aunt I never knew. She left me $500,000 2 weeks ago. She goes, well, that's wonderful. Why are you crying? He goes, this week, nothing.
Woo! Thank you, Chuck. Thank you.
You know, when you get off the plane, most places you get a nice lay in Hawaii. Tanya and Colleen got me this. And I have to say, Tanya and Colleen, they are extremely intelligent women. They're extremely wealthy and beautiful. That's what they told me on the ride over. I practiced that. So I just want to. Nothing this week. So I have to tell you, I'm so happy to be here to represent kids 5,000 miles away. I've been in those orphanages. I've seen their faces. Handicapped kids, one eye looks this way, another eye looks that way, an arm that doesn't work, and they go to bed in a room with 6 other kids. And when they sleep at night and they have a nightmare, a nurse has to come in and take care of them. No mom, no dad. And I saw this stuff and it just touched my heart, and I said, I'm going to come back and do everything I can and all my talents, whatever I can, to raise money to help these kids. And we live in the most successful time period, I think, of all civilization. Maybe the Persians in 400 BC, but we're not around that. Anyway, we have the highest real estate values, the highest unemployment, the stock market's at an all-time high. We have an opportunity that we can change people's lives. So tonight we're looking for $28,000. Let's make that $60,000. God has blessed everyone in this room. And so we have an opportunity to change the lives over there. We're looking at an orphanage called Harbert. and it has 220 handicapped kids. I've been in that orphanage, I've seen the kids, and God's light shines on them. And I feel sad inside when I look at them, but I know that they have a Heavenly Father that looks after them and protects them. And the fact that you guys are all here, there's a reason for that. He's touched your hearts to come to this event tonight. So I just want to end with this. In America, 1 out of every 3 people are very wealthy, and you can tell by the way they're dressed. So if the person on the left and right is not dressed as nice as you, you write the check or change your seat.
Charles, I don't even own a jacket.